Hello summoners and welcome! We are drawing ever closer to October 31st, and I thought it was time to get more into that spooky season mood. And I've already done a video for the Riot MMO in that vein, so I thought I would do something a little different today and talk about Riot's other recent project, 2XKO. Now, 2XKO is still in its open beta, so unfortunately I have not had a chance to play it yet since I am primarily a console gamer and I happen to play League on my Mac. So I'm just going to have to wait until the game's full launch, whenever that may be. But with the recent addition of Warwick, this roster continues to grow, and we've still yet to see what Riot's release gimmick for new champions will be. But I believe they plan to release a new fighter every 2 months or so, and with League's vast arsenal of champions, there is plenty of ceiling room for the roster to scale. And certainly Riot will have special seasonal content like they do in League of Legends with Doombots and Snowdown. There will surely be seasonal skins like more Pool Party, and I really hope we get Santa Braum come December. But given that 2XKO should have a more generous yearly helping of new characters than League, I can't help but hope that some of those new fighters might coincide with those seasonal content patches. And if Riot goes this route, there are certainly plenty of choices. And since we're getting pretty close to Halloween, I thought it'd be fun to go over some champions that would fit that window for 2XKO. And first of all, yes, you could argue that Warwick is the spooky October champion, mostly because he represents that classic werewolf niche. But I really think Riot could do much better. So these are all going to be champions that would fit into an October release window as the new fighter for a Halloween season, as well as what I think we could expect for their 2XKO playstyle, and how likely I think it is that we could see this champion added to 2XKO in the future. So, if you want to join me for some Halloween fun in Runeterra, let's dive in. Now, the first one I want to go over is Morgana. She might not seem like the spookiest champion I could name, and granted, she will be far from the scariest fighter on this list. But much how Warwick still represents a classic werewolf, Morgana could easily represent a classic witchy archetype. And yes, I know she's more of a fallen angel than anything else, but she has garnered a reputation as a perceived witch in modern Demacia, which would let her play into that witch theme that I mentioned. Especially if Riot gave her the Bewitching skin, which you know they certainly would. And in terms of her playstyle, I'd expect something like a blend of Braum and Ahri, playing a defensive mage capable of shielding her teammate and placing debilitating curses on her opponents. Which is something I don't believe we have yet in the roster. Also, Morgana is a fairly well-known character who might get even more prominent soon with the Demacia-themed season purported to be coming next year. So, all in all, I'd say Morgana would work well in 2XKO and be a great thematic fit. So I'd give her a 7 of 10 chance in coming to the game. Now here is a champion whose title alone makes it sound like they skittered right out of a Halloween battle pass. The Spider Queen. Elise. Elise could be a really fun character for 2XKO, especially if Riot factored her spider transformations into her gameplay kit. She could also have a very stun-heavy playstyle with her throwing webs at her opponent, just like we saw from her in the Noxus cinematic when she fought Katarina. So overall, I'd imagine her as an evasive tank, likely changing forms for certain stat boosts, maybe even summoning spiderlings to overwhelm her opponents. And thematically, she wouldn't need any skins to fit a spooky season theme. Her basic aesthetic is already plenty dark, and her spider powers would be perfectly skin-crawling. However, she's not a champion most casual players would likely recognize, and I know that doesn't mean Riot won't draw from more obscure champions for the 2XKO roster, but all the fighters so far have been fairly iconic characters like Ahri, Yasuo, and Darius, those all being apart from the many champions from Arcane who are already confirmed. Although, I guess Illaoi and Blitzcrank are a bit more obscure, so it's not impossible that Elise could show up. But still, I'm going to place her odds at 6 out of 10. Now, if Warwick is the werewolf, and Morgana is the witch, and Elise is the spider, then Vladimir of course represents the vampire. And I have to say, as of now, 2XKO has a disappointing lack of mage characters, most of the roster being weapon fighters, with Ahri as the only real mage so far. So I think more mages are needed, and Vladimir in particular would be a stylish choice. Very few characters are more deserving of lifesteal mechanics than Vladimir, potentially giving him a really fun risk and reward playstyle where his abilities could cost a portion of his health to cast, much like his abilities in League. Also, Vladimir is gaining way more prominence in the lore lately, with him being portrayed as the main antagonist along with LeBlanc, ensuring he would be a recognizable character for the 2XKO roster. And as a plus, you can already envision the Count Vladimir skin in a battle pass. Now, I'm a little biased here because I'll admit, Vladimir is one of my favorite villains in all of League's lore. But nonetheless, I do believe he has great potential, so I'm going to put his odds of joining the roster at 8 out of 10. Now, to be honest, in addition to Elise, who I've already mentioned, every Shadow Isles champion could potentially make this list. But I decided to focus on just one in particular, that being Thresh, the Chain Warden. There are few champions that inspire more fear in-universe or out-of-universe, so Thresh is a perfectly frightening pick. And gameplay-wise, he's almost certain to make for another trap-heavy character like Teemo, perhaps with more lifesteal mechanics to represent him taking souls into his lantern. I can already see Thresh's box ability as an ultimate to trap enemies with. And this is just my opinion, but I do think Thresh has some of the best skins. And you know good skin game is what makes money, so Riot would certainly love that aspect. So, I'd give Thresh a solid 8 out of 10 on his chances of appearing in 2XKO. And now for the final champion on this list. Thresh is certainly scary, but there's one champion that takes the crown of terrifying. And that, of course, is Fiddlesticks, the Demon of Fear himself. If Riot wants a spooky champion to fit a Halloween thematic, I really don't think there's a better choice than Fiddlesticks. Visually, he's already something so different than anything in the current roster. Not to mention, he's already got some perfect skins for a battle pass. In terms of gameplay, I'd expect something of another trapper like Teemo with his scarecrows, but with a mix of a rapid combo fighting style more akin to Warwick, which would make him a true terror to fight against. And come on, taunting in that voice.
I'm coming to help. Where are you? I can't see you. I can't see you.
That would be perfect to strike fear in your opponents. Ultimately, Fiddlesticks is a perfect thematic fit, with the potential for some terrifying combos to make him a formidable fighter. So, for Fiddlesticks' chances in 2XKO, I'm going to give him a 9 of 10. And that's it for our list, but now I'd love to know what you think. Would you want to see any of these champions in 2XKO, or do you have your own picks? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, then please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss any future 2XKO or League of Legends videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you here again. And until next time, I'll see you out on the Summer's Rift.